What up, guys? This is
Cheevo, guys!
Back here again with another video. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys some gameplay of Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma. All three games in the trilogy were just re-released via the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. So today, I'm going to be showing you guys footage from the Master Collection, specifically the second game, Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma. I'm going to be playing this on my Xbox Series X, and I'm going to be recording it and uploading it at 60 frames per second, so everything should look real smooth. Ultimately, it takes about 40 minutes to complete the first mission in the game, so in this video, I'm going to be showing you about the first 40 minutes of the game or so. As promised, I'm going to be covering all three games in the Master Collection with some gameplay as well as commentary, but I'm not going to be commentating during the cutscenes, so let's go ahead and dive into Mission 1.
So, let me get this straight.
Let me see here.
You don't have a clue where I can find Ryu Hayabusa?
No one knows where a ninja goes. If he isn't at the Hayabusa village, he could be halfway around the world. Sonia, was it? Do you have business with Ryu?
I do.
And what might that be?
All I'll say is that it concerns the Archfiend.
Oh, the Archfiend.
We have the woman. I expected more, Ryu Hayabusa. Ha!
Alright, so finally, get into some gameplay. So, first thing you're going to notice is that the graphics are much better than the first game, but that's just because the first game was originally an Xbox-only game, and then they released Ninja Gaiden Black, which I believe was also only on the original Xbox. So really, you can't compare the two because they were released in different console generations, that being the original Xbox generation versus the Xbox 360 generation. So yeah, you're going to notice a significant improvement in terms of graphics.
Oh, why, if it isn't Ryu.
They were minions of the Black Spider clan.
Indeed they were. We haven't heard from them in a while.
Who was the woman?
You don't know her? Neither do I. You couldn't save her? She was looking for you. She said it was about the Archfiend.
The Archfiend.
Alright, so before we go any further, I want to point out the elephant in the room. You're definitely going to notice that this game is not the same gory game that you're used to, at least if you had originally played Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360. I think that's the best version of the second game. Is going to be the OG Xbox 360 version, as that one has a lot more gore, a lot more decapitations, cutting off of limbs, things like that. So as much as the Sigma version adds a bunch of new features, it also takes away a lot of the basic features that you may have been used to in terms of graphics and presentation. Now, this version of the game, Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma in the Master Collection, actually has gore and decapitation features, but they are not as significant, I'd say, as the decapitations and gore in the OG Xbox 360 version, because that one just has so much more blood. I mean, I'm probably going to do a graphics comparison because luckily that game is backwards compatible and I can record some footage on the Xbox Series X. So I may record them, side by side and show you guys the differences. If that's something that you want to see, let me know down in the comments below. I've really been debating on uploading graphics comparison videos for all three games because a lot of people are wondering what's the differences in the Sigma versions and the Master Collection versions, things like that. Ultimately, these are good games. Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Gaiden 2 are awesome games in itself, regardless of which version you play. There are definitely versions that are better than others. For instance, the best version of the first game is going to be Ninja Gaiden Black, at least to most people. The best version of the second game, for the most part, is going to be Ninja Gaiden 2, the OG Xbox 360 version. And then for the third game, really, all of the versions of the third game get a bad rap. But personally, I actually like the third game, but mostly because there's a lot of gore and blood in that one, especially compared to the first two games. But yeah, for the third title, we get the Razor's Edge version of the game, which was released on the PS3 as well as the Xbox 360, and I believe it's backwards compatible as well. So again, I'm going to try to get some graphics comparison videos uploaded for all three games, just so we can compare the different versions, but also, the 4K, or apparently 4K upgrades that the Master Collection offers. Personally, I know it's running in 4K technically, and we have the 60 frames per second, which I think is the most significant upgrade in terms of playing the game, but in terms of texture and graphics and things like that, I like I said, they say it's running in 4K, but is it true 4K? Has every single texture in the game been upgraded to a 4K texture? I don't believe so. At most, this is a high quality port. I know they're throwing out the word remaster, but if you set your expectations for a remaster, more than likely you're going to get disappointed, because this is not a remaster, this is not a remake, this is a high quality port. And if you set your expectations at that, you're going to be happy because this is the same classic game that you're used to. The honest version of what we have here is basically the PS3 version of each of these games, but updated, to work on modern day consoles, what I would call a port. On top of that, it runs smoother. Again, it runs at 60 frames per second, which really matters in a fast-paced game like this, especially when you're trying to block, parry, or counter really fast attacks on the screen. This is a game where it's really going to improve the gameplay experience in terms of, like I said, countering, blocking, things like that, because this game is very fast-paced. So every frame that you can get is going to make you a better player. Now, back to the graphics and the differences. One of the things that you're going to notice is this purple mist. Basically, that replaces the sections that would have been really gory or bloody. If you haven't played the Xbox 360 version of this game, you may not really feel like you're missing out on anything. A matter of fact, you may just feel that this is a really awesome game because it is. But if you have played that Xbox 360 version, you're definitely going to have a feeling that this game is a bit censored, just because, again, if you played the Xbox 360 version, you're used to a really gory and bloody Ninja Gaiden game. And this game, or this version of the game, is just not it. It's not nearly as bloody. Now, in terms of the achievements, they're actually really difficult. I'd compare it to like a Devil May Cry game, or the old Devil May Cry remasters, things like that. It's a game that's going to basically require you to complete it multiple times on each of the difficulties, not even the three, standard difficulties that you have available once you start the game for the first time, but the additional difficulties that are going to unlock as you play the game or beat the game. Not only are you going to have to complete the game on all difficulties, but I believe you have basically collectibles in the game, as you have to collect all of the crystal skulls. Depending on how interested you guys are in playing this game, I could end up releasing the collectible guide, as well as guides for some other achievements in the game, and aside from achievement related stuff, maybe even some graphic comparison videos, as I mentioned earlier, so we can point out the differences between the Xbox 360 version and the Sigma version in the Master Collection. Now, there's two types of people that may be watching this video. The first type of person is a Ninja Gaiden fan wondering if they should buy the Master Collection. If you are a Ninja Gaiden fan and you played the other games, I'd say it's definitely worth it. Again, it just depends on where you had your expectations set once you found out that they were releasing a Master Collection, because I wouldn't necessarily categorize this as a remaster. Again, I'd categorize it as a high quality port. But if you love the old games, this is the same old game that you used to love. So that's part of, the advantage. If you're a Ninja Gaiden fan, you're getting the old school game just updated to a modern day console and modern day controls. And that's about it. There's not really any significant graphic updates or anything like that. They say it's in 4K. Maybe, some textures were updated, some lighting, things like that, but there's still a lot of really old textures in the game, and as far as I can tell, none of the cutscenes were remastered. So yeah, as long as you're not expecting a huge graphic overhaul, you shouldn't be too disappointed with the game. Ultimately, all three games are really good games. Some people would say maybe the third game is not that great, but the first and the second one are definitely must-play games. Now, the second type of person that may be watching this video is someone that's never maybe played the Ninja Gaiden series, and for that person, I highly recommend purchasing the game. Just because the first game, as I mentioned before, is a must-play game. It was one of the OG Xbox exclusives. Not only that, but we ended up getting the second one as Xbox exclusive as well. And as I mentioned before, that is the best version of the game. If you can play that version via backwards compatibility, that's what I'd recommend diving into, as again, that one's just way more gory, way more blood. So, if you like that sort of stuff, you're going to enjoy the 360 version a lot better, especially because a lot of these backwards compatibility games run really well. I mean, Microsoft is doing a great job with their backwards compatibility. Again, I'll try to get a graphics comparison video up comparing the Xbox 360 version to this version, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, running in the Master Collection on the Xbox Series X. So yeah, either way, if you've never played Ninja Gaiden series before, or if you've played all three games, completed them, whatever, regardless, I recommend this purchase to all types of potential people that are interested in playing this game, just because this is a must-play trilogy. I mean, once you go and play these old games, you're going to realize how many other games were inspired by Ninja Gaiden and this trilogy. There's just a ton of games that, picked up a lot of these mechanics, and basically it inspired a lot of games that we play, now in 2021. Alright, so I think that's going to be our boss battle right there. We just got to catch up with that big statue. I think there's actually like 2 or 3 bosses in this first level, if I remember correctly. So stay tuned if you guys want to see some epic boss battles, because I am going to be finishing mission 1. Again, it takes about 40 minutes or so to run through the first mission, but it's the best glimpse at what you're going to get in terms of, purchasing the new Master Collection. If you're wondering, maybe Ninja Gaiden 2 was your favorite game and you're expecting the same old with the Xbox 360 version, the advantages compared to that would be, it's at 60 frames per second, some, upgraded 4K textures, things like that, but you're not going to get the blood and gore and some of the other advantages that the OG Xbox 360 version had. One really cool feature that the Master Collection has that I haven't mentioned quite yet is the fact that you can play the game with multiple characters. The game lets you play as characters such as Ayane, Momoji, Rachel, and Kasumi. That's 4 girls from the Dead or Alive series, which are also featured in the Ninja Gaiden games. So being able to play through the games with other characters is really cool. It really gives the game or the collection more replay value, especially considering some of these achievements or trophies require you to complete the game multiple times. And it gets kind of tedious playing the same game over and over again with the same characters. So if you can kind of spice it up and maybe play as Kasumi or something like that, that might make the game feel like a totally different experience. So if you guys want to see some gameplay with any of the Dead or Alive girls, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try to get some footage up for you guys. but you know, I wanted my gameplay footage for each of the 3 games to be with the standard Ryu Hayabusa that you're used to, because you know, it'd be kind of weird if you like went into watching some Ninja Gaiden gameplay and all of a sudden you were watching Kasumi. You'd be like, what the heck? Especially if you didn't know that the Master Collection allows you to play as different characters. I think they even have like different attacks and things like that. It's not just a skin. So I'm gonna have to dive into that. I haven't played with any of those character features quite yet. I'm kind of just diving into each game, playing the first mission, and recording some 60 FPS gameplay for you guys. Because, you know, I'm in the same spot as you guys. There's a lot of good games coming out right now, and, you know, some people can only afford so many games, and sometimes you gotta choose between one game and another in terms of, you know, deciding which one you're going to spend your money on. And I gotta say, Ninja Gaiden Master Collection is one of the best releases so far this month, just considering how much content you're getting for 40 bucks. Now, let's see, for some reason it won't let me jump right there. Okay, that's because I'm in the middle of a boss battle. Alright guys, so it's about to get epic. We gotta defeat this big stone monster, or statue, whatever you want to call it. I definitely don't want to get scooped up by him. Let's see. If you guys are wondering, I'm playing on the normal difficulty. I didn't dive into the hard difficulty or anything like that. But, you know, if you're familiar with the game, even on normal difficulty, this game, you know, is pretty ruthless. So for you to be able to complete it on a hard difficulty or very hard difficulty is pretty insane, and you deserve mad respect, because even to complete this game on normal is, you know, pretty difficult. Personally, I've only completed about half of the first game and probably 75 to 85% of the second game, but I ended up getting stuck on a boss battle in this game. I'm not too sure the name of the boss, but I gotta do some research to find out the name so I can tell you guys, or maybe I'll just complete the game, get far enough so I can be able to tell you guys, or upload some footage of that boss battle and maybe, you know, redeem my younger self by uploading some video guides on how to defeat the boss. I want to say that Ninja Gaiden was the first Souls game before there was Dark Souls. You know, this isn't necessarily your definition of a Souls game these days because it's so fast paced, but it has a lot of the features that you see in Souls games these days. You know, they share a lot of the same elements and features, you know, like basically prioritizing boss battles. You know, that's a big part of the Souls-like experience, is defeating epic bosses, but, you know, not necessarily right away. You know, having to basically learn all of the attacks, really study a boss, and ultimately basically really end up deserving to beat that boss before you actually are able to defeat him, because it takes a lot of studying, it takes patience, it takes dying a ton of times to be able to defeat a boss in a Souls-like game. And a lot of that I feel like was inspired by a game like Ninja Gaiden. So if you want to play a game that's super challenging, I highly recommend going back and playing through this trilogy now that it's been modernized for the latest consoles. Especially if you love Souls-like games. Maybe you're someone that loves Souls-like games and has never touched the original Ninja Gaiden trilogy. If so, highly recommend it. I highly recommend the purchase. Regardless, like I said, whether you've never played the games or you have, I recommend the Master Collection just because these games are straight classics. I'm really hoping that the Master Collection renews interest in this franchise, just because the Ninja Gaiden series deserves so much more, you guys. We deserve a new Ninja Gaiden game, maybe Ninja Gaiden 4, or I'd even take a remake of the first game, like full-on remake. I'm talking Resident Evil treatment here. If they were to full-on remake the first game, you can keep the same story, you know, keep the same basically bones of the game, the boss battles, everything like that, just, you know, redo the voice acting and the graphics and the controls and just build it from the ground up and remake the game rather than just porting it to next-gen consoles and calling it a 4K version of the game. I think that's what would really make the fans happy. So yeah, a full-on remake or maybe Ninja Gaiden 4, those would be ideal for me. Master Collection is definitely a start. It's definitely a push in the right direction. The first games were known for being Xbox exclusive, so the Ninja Gaiden series really resonates with a lot of hardcore Xbox fans. I'd really like to see it come back to Xbox as an exclusive, but when Itagaki left Kemco, basically everything went to PlayStation. They didn't see the value in being an Xbox exclusive anymore because Itagaki was basically the main person trying to keep the brand with Xbox, but after he left, basically they ended up being a PlayStation brand, or Ninja Gaiden ended up being a PlayStation brand, as all of the Sigma versions were released on the PS3 and they weren't released on Xbox 360 or Xbox One. Razor's Edge, Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge was released on the 360, but that was the last Ninja Gaiden game we got on Xbox up until now when the Master Collection has been released. So it's nice to see Ninja Gaiden come back to Xbox. It basically, started off as an Xbox franchise, then went to PlayStation, and now it appears to be, multi-platform, which is good. But who knows, what's going to happen with the next actual Ninja Gaiden game. It could end up being a PlayStation exclusive. It could end up being an Xbox exclusive. You guys already know how I feel. I would love for it to be an Xbox exclusive, but I also wouldn't mind if it was a multi-platform game. Ultimately, like a lot of Ninja Gaiden fans, as long as we got another game or a new game, I'd be really happy with it, as long as it's something new in the Ninja Gaiden series. He definitely deserves a lot more love. I feel like Team Ninja should be acquired by Xbox. That might not be a popular opinion, but there has been a lot of history between the two franchises. We had Dead or Alive 4 as an Xbox exclusive. What else? We had the Dead or Alive Extreme games originally as Xbox exclusives. But then, the Dead or Alive Extreme games ended up being PlayStation exclusives. So Team Ninja has definitely, been on a little seesaw in terms of, being exclusive one way or the other. So it really could tilt any way at any time. But, with all of the talk about Xbox acquiring this and that studio, there's a lot of studios, that are getting their names thrown out there. And man, I like to throw Team Ninja out there. If we could acquire them and, make Ninja Gaiden, Neo, what else? Dead or Alive Extreme. If we can bring all of those games back to Xbox, man, that would be legit. I mean, again, just make them. Make the new games. Make the new Dead or Alive game, the new Dead or Alive Extreme, the new Ninja Gaiden. Just please at least release them on Xbox, whether it's multi-platform or not. A lot of these Team Ninja games, like Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive Extreme, they all originated on the original Xbox, so a lot of these games resonate with Xbox fans. That's known for being an Xbox franchise, an Xbox exclusive, so I'd really like to see a new exclusive Dead or Alive game, Ninja Gaiden game, or Dead or Alive Extreme, but there actually are some pretty or fairly new, Dead or Alive Extreme games. They're just all kind of stuck on PlayStation, specifically overseas PlayStation titles. A lot of them aren't popular here in the West, or at least they aren't being published here in the West, but that's just because I think PlayStation is a lot more lenient in terms of what they allow their games to have in regards to like mature content and things like that, versus Xbox in terms of letting things fly. They're a lot more strict in terms of maturity, nudity, things like that, and a lot of these games have reputations for being, what's the word, raunchy. So yeah, I'm gonna go to end this rant right here, but I really think that Xbox and Microsoft should try to acquire Team Ninja, as again, a lot of these Team Ninja games really resonate with us Xbox fans or hardcore Xbox fans, because once upon a time all of these games were Xbox exclusives, and somewhere along the line we basically lost them. So that is unfortunate, because I'm a big Dead or Alive fan and obviously a big Ninja Gaiden fan. So hopefully they don't let these franchises just waste away, and they get their due diligence, because I'd really like to see a new Dead or Alive game announced fairly soon, now that we finally have our new consoles. Now, another thing I want to point out about the Master Collection in terms of if you're an achievement or trophy hunter is the fact that this has 3,000 gamer score. You can get 1,000 gamer score in each of the 3 titles. If you're playing on PlayStation, I believe you can get 3 platinum trophies. That's really awesome, because some of these compilations or remastered trilogies only have 1,000 gamer score or 1 platinum trophy for all 3 titles combined, and it's like, why would you do that? when you can release each game with its own, 1000 G and platinum trophy. So props to Koei Tecmo for at least doing that, because that's big for achievement hunters. Even though the achievements are really hard, and more than likely you won't get that full 100% or platinum trophy, at least you'll be able to get, at least half of the trophies. And when you get half of 3,000, that's 1,500, which is, more than a full completion of any other game. So I'll take that any day. Now, personally, I don't think I'm going to go for that full 1,000 gamer score, just because that's super grindy and it takes a really big Ninja Gaiden fan to get that full completion. But again, maybe I'll release some collectible guides and some guides on the misc achievements, things like that, just in case you guys are interested. But if the videos aren't doing too well for Ninja Gaiden, I might just move on and stick with some other achievement tiles. So yeah, I think we got all these enemies cleared out right here. Let's go ahead and run to the end of this pathway. Alright guys, so I went ahead and looked up some of the differences between Sigma 2 and Ninja Gaiden 2, the Xbox 360 version. It says the game features new large-scale bosses, an online cooperative gameplay mode with multiple playable characters, including Ayane, Momoji, Rachel, and Kasumi. So obviously, you won't be able to play with all of the additional characters on the Xbox 360 version. However, as I mentioned before, the Xbox 360 version does have its advantages. It says, while Sigma 2 has additional content not in the original Ninja Gaiden 2, a large amount of content was also removed from the game or altered, such as a drastically reduced enemy count within gameplay. Basically what I was reading is that the Xbox 360 version can handle a lot more on the screen at the same time, so there's more limbs cut off, things like that, more characters getting spawned, so it's actually a little bit harder because of that. Compared to the PS3 Sigma 2 version, they basically had graphical upgrades that kind of weighed down the amount of processing power the game had, so that they couldn't put as many enemies on the screen because of the graphic upgrades. So things like that. More than anything, it says, finally, almost all of the gore has been removed from the PlayStation 3 version, Sigma 2. Purple mist now bursts from the enemies, along with the reduced blood splashes. Dismembered body parts no longer stay on the ground but vanish. Additionally, cinematics have been altered to remove dismemberment, dissection, and blood effects. So yeah, this version is basically censored, guys. So if you do not want to play the censored version, I highly recommend playing the backwards compatible version of Ninja Gaiden 2. But overall, this game does have its upgrades. So, I mean, really, it looks like I just got to make a graphics comparison video or a game comparison video and showing you guys the plus sides and downsides to each version. It could probably be a whole video in itself. But yeah, it just comes down to your preferences. If you prefer, a lot of blood and gore and stuff like that, I highly recommend playing the OG Xbox 360 version. If you don't really care about gore, this version will do it for you. Ultimately, it's a 4K version. 60 frames per second, runs really smooth. You can play through with multiple characters, so there's a lot of plus sides here. And in terms of downsides, again, the biggest one for me is the fact that they got rid of a lot of the gore, decapitation, dismemberment, things like that. Either way, the game has its own 1000 gamer score, and on top of that, the 360 version has another 1000 gamer score, totaling up for 2000 G. So if you're a super hardcore Ninja Gaiden fan, you can stack that up and you can get a total of like 5000 G in Ninja Gaiden games, because 3000 G in the Master Collection plus Ninja Gaiden 2 Xbox 360 and then Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge on the Xbox 360. So yeah, that'll total up for like 5,000 gamer score, guys, for you hardcore Ninja Gaiden fans. Now, if you're wondering how long it takes to beat this game, I looked it up on howlongtobeat.com, and it says that the main story is about 14 hours long for the average player. The main story plus extras, 18 hours. For a completionist, it says 26 and a half hours. I don't know though, I don't think that's taking into consideration the achievements. I think if you were going for the achievements, it'd probably take 30 to 40 hours to get the full 1000 gamer score, but I haven't necessarily done it, so if you've done it, let me know down in the comments below.
You shall not pass. I am Shadow Ninja Rasetsu, and you will not leave here alive.
Remember I was telling you guys this game emphasizes boss battles? We're already facing our second boss in the first mission. That's just craziness. I mean, the traditional game has one boss at the end of each level. At least that's how it used to be, you know, back in the days. But, you know, with this game, it gives you even more boss battles, more than you can handle. Now, I gotta say the first boss battles are fairly easy, but then again, I'm only playing on normal difficulty. But I mean, after a while, I can imagine I'm going to end up, you know, facing some of these bosses 10 plus times, because that's really when it's going to start feeling like a Souls game, and you really want to start to relate to when I said earlier about this game inspiring a lot of Souls-like games these days. It's just the emphasis on boss battles. Bosses are so cool. I mean, bosses are the most classic part of a video game. I don't know where they got away from having bosses in video games. Maybe it just got too repetitive, or people were just running out of ideas in terms of coming up with these bosses, because, you know, a lot of it's already been done already. But yeah, boss battles, man, they're my favorite part of games.
You're coming with us. Stop struggling. Take us up.
You can have her, Ryu Hayabusa. She's just a tool of the CIA. You bought us the time we needed.
Just when we thought we were about to complete the first mission, the game spits a third boss battle at us. That is just crazy. 3 boss battles in one level. In the first level of a game, that's absolutely nuts. Now, technically, I guess this isn't the third boss, because this is just like phase 2 of the first boss that we faced, but it's the third boss battle. Anyhow, I actually died the first time I faced this boss, but I went ahead and cut out that footage for you guys, because you guys aren't trying to watch a bunch of footage of me dying over and over again. So this is the footage of me actually defeating the boss. The hardest part about this boss is he grabs you and he slams you into the ground, and it takes a ton of your health away. And if you die, you actually lose all of your potions. They don't like respawn back in your inventory or anything like that. So if you use those potions, you're pretty much out of luck, because the second time around you have to defeat the boss without any type of health, HP boosters, potions, whatever you want to call them. You don't have anything like that in your inventory. at least if you already used it in your previous attempt. So yeah, the first time I was facing him, I used, you know, any type of potions that I had, and the second time when I faced him, I didn't have anything, so I had to, you know, defeat him in one run. Now, we almost have him defeated here. We pretty much have him at about like 15% life. He should fall down, and we should be able to finish him off right here. Here we go. Nice.
Ryu, I finally found you.
So, what does the CIA want with me?
We have a serious problem. The Fiends are trying to resurrect the Archfiend. We can't let that happen.
I see the agency's broadened its horizons.
Ryu, they're heading for the Hayabusa village. They're after the demon statue. Your clan is in danger.
Alright guys, 3 boss battles later, we finally finished the first mission in the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my 60 FPS Xbox Series X gameplay of Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma running in the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. Other than that, I'd like to give a huge thank you to all of my Patreon subscribers. We just hit 16 patrons. I'd like to give a special shout out to everybody in the biggest fan club, including TimG84, AOJ, Kegger101, Michael Banksa, and Purple Rain 6. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe.